In this lesson, we'll be talking about basic segment postulates. So one of the first postulates is the ruler postulate, and it says the distance between any 2 points on a segment is the absolute value of the difference of the coordinates. What does that mean? Well, my favorite way to teach this in 6th grade was to break off the front of a ruler. If I broke off the first 1.5 inches, so you can see this ruler starts after 1 inch, can I still use the ruler to measure? Well, in this case, I have the ruler lined up, so I have a 4 on C and a 10 on D in inches. How long is this segment? You might say, oh, subtract 10 minus 4, and I get 6, and you would be right. That is the ruler postulate. Now, the ruler postulate also lets you go the other way by using absolute value. 4 minus 10 is negative 6. But if I use absolute value, because distance should not be negative, that makes it 6. And remember, you learned about absolute value, should have been in 7th grade. So another thing that we learn about in this unit are midpoints. The midpoint should be exactly halfway between the 2 endpoints. And if we use this, you can see that CE measures at 3 inches, and ED measures 3 inches. A midpoint divides a segment into 2 congruent segments, and the 2 points at the end of the segment are called the endpoints. So I have my little congruency marks here, so you can see that both segments, even without a ruler, are equal length, so they are congruent. The segment addition postulate is really pretty common sense. The tricky part for most geometry students is setting up an equation using the segment addition postulate. So let's take a look and see what this postulate says. It says that if B is a point between A and C on a segment, then the length of AB plus the length of BC is the same as the whole length. That makes sense. So what I'm going to be doing is using the postulate. We're going to write it out so that the individual pieces of the segment equal the whole segment. So in this first example, I know that AD, the length of the hole, is 42, and we want to find BD. But they don't give me any other numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an X for each of these segments. Why can I put an X? Each piece is congruent, so they all have the same value. And I'm just using X. If your name's Angela, you can use A. If your name is Peter, you can use P. So whatever is your favorite variable would work here. Now I'm going to add the individual pieces, and I say they have to add up to the whole. This is the angle addition postulate. Adding them up and combining like terms, I get 3x equals 42. Then I can divide both sides by 3, and I get x equals 14. But I didn't really want to know x, I want to know BD. So I say x plus x, which is 14 plus 14, is 28. And that gives me the length of segment BD. Notice since it doesn't have the little mark over it, the way we show length is not having the line over the 2 letters. Now I'm going to find the measure of MP. So MP is this whole segment here. They tell me that MN, the length of that is 17. The length of NP is 3y. And the length of MP, the entire segment, is 5y plus 9. So I'm going to add the 2 pieces and say they're equal to the whole. 17 plus 3y equals 5y plus 9. This is the whole. Then I put the like terms on the same side, so I move the variables. I subtract 3y from both sides, and I get 17 equals 2y plus 9. I want to isolate the y, so I subtract 9 from both sides, and I get 8 equals 2y, which basically means that y equals 4. My answer, though, is not 4. I need to find the length of MP. So I'm going to use this 5y plus 9 and substitute in the 4. 5 times 4 plus 9, so 20 plus 9 is 29. In example 3, a carpenter has a wooden dowel that is 72 centimeters long. She wants to cut it into 2 pieces so that one piece is 5 times as long as the other. What are the lengths of the 2 pieces? The best way to start here is to first draw a picture. And you'll notice I have an X and a 5X. Why did I do that? Well, I could have used b or another variable, but let's use x. So x is a short piece, and the other piece is 5 times as long, so it's 5 x's. And I know together they have to add up to 72 centimeters. So x plus 5x is 72. I combine like terms to get 6x equals 72. Then I can divide both sides by 6. That tells me x equals 12. But they really want to know both pieces. So I can substitute in 12 and for x, and I get 5 times 12 is 60. And both my pieces, one is 12 centimeters long, and the other is 60 centimeters long.